Namaste students, this is Sanjay Nath. Today's session is on interpretation of topographical maps, session 12, part 1, standard 10 ICSE. In this session, we'll learn how to interpret topographical map and how the interpretation can be drawn. There are two primary components that we'll learn. Based on that, we'll interpret the topographical map or a particular map extract. First one, occupation and climate and vegetation. You might be wondering how could it be possible that in a particular region on a map extract the group of people are in a particular occupation, or what would be the climate and vegetation of a particular area. Yes, it is possible with the help of certain observation and evidences. These evidences and observation are direct and indirect. Now we'll take first occupations. In 45 D7 and D10 there are some occupation has been already been identified: agriculture, cattle rearing, construction work, public services, trade, tourism, education and lumbering. All these occupations are there in the topographical map. Not at all the places one has to identify with the help of certain evidences. Now we'll understand what are the evidences to prove that this particular map extract the people in the village or town they engage in agriculture. First of all, understand one thing. If you observe the topographical map 45 D7 and D10, about 80 to 90% of topographical map is covered with yellow color. The yellow color indicates that the people staying there, they're into practice of agriculture, having their own cultivated land. Cattle rearing. How one can prove the particular group of people staying in a particular village in 45 D7 and D10, they engage in agricultural practice as well as cattle rearing. It is true for all the parts of 45 D7 and D10 except Mount Abu. Now the cattle rearing plays a very important role in village that provides a supplementary with the agriculture and provides an extra monthly income. Now what are the evidences? These evidences are obvious. Yellow color represent agricultural land and we assume that the farmers have their own group of cattle or they're into cattle rearing. There are lots of tanks with embankment. Now these tanks on topographical map it represent that farmer dug such tanks to fill with water during monsoon, followed by that cart track. 80 to 90% of topographical map is having the network of single red line. This represent that this area have cart tracks, and cart track means they definitely have cattles. Construction. Now what are the evidences? Let's have a look. Lime kiln, brick kiln, stone quarry, metal road under construction, canal under construction. As you can see in these two pictures, there are two construction work has been going on. Lime kiln is a place where lime has been baked or inside the furnace. Brick kiln is, as you can see in this picture here, bricks have been stacked one over another and they kept inside the furnace to bake for a long period of time. Stone quarries are the areas where stone has been extracted from the mines and making of roads and construction of buildings. Metal road under construction. On one or two places on the map extract, it is very clearly mentioned along the metal road, the road is under construction. Hence we can say this area, the people are engaged in construction work. There's one more example. A thick black color line has been shown and written canal under construction. Hence you can say that this area, the people are engaged in construction work. Now these evidences are very clear. Now one can identify what construction work is going on over in a particular map extract because you have learned all the symbols in the previous session. Now we'll understand what are public services on this topographical map and we'll look for those evidences. It is true for larger villages and the town of Abu. Now what are the evidences? Post office, police station, dak bungalow, inspection bungalow and dispensaries. Now what are public services? Public services means the people or the population of a particular area or a region, they are into the occupation of government service. Now post office, police station, dak bungalows are the places where the postmen or the officials from the postal department they go and stay. Every district is having its own dak bungalows. Inspection bungalows are mainly under the state and central government, mainly the PWD department and municipal corporation. Dispensaries are very small health center, mainly they're located in the rural areas that provide medicine and some health checkup. These symbols you have already learned in your convection signs and symbol session. If any one of this evidences you will see close to a particular region or a town or a map extract, you can make it out the people or the population that engage in public services. Trade. Now how one can identify the particular map extract, the population to trade. It is true for larger settlement. As you can see, there are two pictures here. This picture is showing the people are doing some handicraft work, and in this picture you can see there is a market, or what we call it in local term hard bazaars. Now these are very common sight in the rural areas. These are the areas, mainly the nucleated settlements and radial settlement. They flourish near the roadside, or there might be a small nucleated settlement where people are engaged in trade. They usually either purchase or buy things with the help of currency, or they can use the method called barter system. Now we'll understand what are the evidences of tourism, and in the map extract how this can be identified. It is true for the town of Abu, mainly the Mount Abu. Evidences are hill stations, Nakki Talao, Dilwari Temple, Sunset Point, Anadra Point, Palanpur Palace, Jai Vilas Palace. These are some of the very famous tourist spots in Mount Abu region. We'll see in the map extract, people in the Mount Abu region are primarily engaged in the occupation of tourism. Education. Now we'll see what are the evidences of education or educational practice or occupation on topographical map. As such, it is true for the town of Mount Abu. Evidences: St. Mary High School and Sophia High School. Only one school has been identified or written literally on topographical map in Mount Abu region. Lumbering. Lumbering is a part of social forestry. Or on the map extract, if you see the settlements are very close to the forested area, they're basically scattered, isolated settlements, and they're very close to the green patch area on topographical map. Now we'll see the evidences. Settlement near or within the forested area. Here the population is primarily engaged in cutting off trees and collecting wood and their produce from the forest. Now we'll learn about the second component of the topographical map, how to interpretation will be drawn, climate and vegetation. Remember one thing, the topographical map mainly demarcates the region in Rajasthan and Gujarat, and this region is an arid climatic region. Summer season is March to May month, hot and dry, 45 degrees Celsius. Rainy season June to September, scanty rainfall 50 centimeter. Winter December to February, cool and dry and 0 degree, primarily in desert region. Now what are the evidences of seasonal rainfall? Now you might be thinking how one can prove that by looking at the symbols or the color that this particular area or region receive seasonal rainfall. Yes, there are certain evidences. Let's have a look. Dry and seasonal stream, dry tanks, broken ground, open scrub, wells and motorable in dry season. Now we'll take the first one, dry seasonal stream. As you know that on topographical maps, streams are primarily drawn with black color. So such streams are non-perennial in nature. They don't have water throughout the year. They only flow during monsoon. Followed by that, you will see hundreds of dry tanks. Now these dry tanks are drawn in black color, and you will see inside these dry tanks there are dots like this. And this represent these dry tanks only filled during the monsoon. Broken ground. Along the streams, dendritic could be trellis. One can identify those curved lines. These curved lines along the streams, it represent that there is excessive erosion during the dry spell, and this area receive seasonal rainfall. Open scrub. These are small bushes, mainly thorny bushes, are called open scrub. There are many wells are drawn on topographical map. You can identify these wells on topographical map with a blue dot. The blue dot is a symbol of well. Now this area represents that there are less number of rivers and there are more of wells for irrigation purpose or for drinking purpose. One more very interesting or very important example, you can say evidence of seasonal rainfall. There are certain cart tracks on topographical map, and along the cart track it is mentioned motorable in dry season. It means during monsoon such tracks submerge beneath the water like this one, and when it dry that particular track can be used for cart track. Now we'll learn what are the possible vegetation and how one can identify the evidences to prove that what are the types of vegetations are there. Open scrub. Open scrubs are mainly thorny bushes and cacti. As such, you know that this particular map extract 45D7 and D10 is of arid region and receives seasonal rainfall. and this semi-arid region have vegetation is more of acacia category or desert type. Now we'll have some specific evidences to mention over here. Tropical deciduous trees. These trees on topographical map are drawn with the help of green color. The symbol on topographical map is of 2 by 2 millimeters square. You have to be very keen to observe this symbol. What are the possible vegetation under tropical deciduous trees? Neem, banyan and peepal. Now there are other categories of vegetation also there, and these type of vegetation are mainly located near the semi-arid desert region, mainly some part of Rajasthan and Gujarat. This is acacia, mainly babool and kikar, cactus and date palm. Thank you for watching the presentation.